From the ashes of divorce, you can come back stronger than ever. This is Divorce to Victory with Kevin Ray Ward. Your new life starts now. Hi there, this is Kevin Ray Ward, and I want to welcome you to the special episode of Divorce to Victory podcast, where today we're going to talk about relationship reboot wisdom from divorce heartbreak. Now, here's the first thing I need to tell you, is that most people that try to do a relationship reboot doesn't work. And what you really need is not a reboot. You need a complete system upgrade. I was talking to a gentleman the other day about my Divorce to Victory breakthrough program, and he's an attorney, and he's just like, I just need a reboot. And I'm like, so tell me what that means. And he said, I just need to get back out there and get going again, get my mojo back and get started and get back in the dating game, and I got this. And what I want to tell you guys is I'm a guy who's been there. And one of the problems is that when we just need to think we need to get back out there, is we go out there and we do the same thing over that we did before. We take the mistakes that caused our last marriage to fail, and it causes the next relationship to also get really great, and you build it and then you burn it to the ground. And you may be a super high achiever, super successful. You got your shit together in so many areas. But when it comes to this idea of a relationship, no matter how successful you are in business or in your life and everything looks good and feels good, when your marriage fell apart, it is a sign, brother, that something broke. And it's not just a reboot that we need a complete system upgrade. And in this episode, I'm going to talk to you about how do we pull off that kind of a complete system upgrade in our whole worldview of love and life and relationships. Albert Einstein, it was, who famously said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So you've been through the heartbreak, the marriage failed, you got the divorce, or you're going through the divorce. Now, some guys just say, well, that ain't ever going to happen to me. I'm just never going to remarry. And I'm going to talk about in this episode why that typically does not work and why that is not a great plan. Now, it is an option, but it's not an option that most men are going to take. So let's just start first by talking about what's the problem. What is the problem when it comes to this idea of getting back into the game and going out after a divorce and finding the next love of our life? Well, here's the problem. Problem number one, we don't learn from our mistakes. We really don't. And especially in marriage. Now, I can prove this statistically because you look at when people get married in their first marriage, there is a 50% chance, basically a 50% chance of divorce, which means there's a 50% chance that your marriage is going to end with a complete system failure and the marriage is going to end. And so we have a failed marriage. We go through the divorce. We completely fry the operating system of our relationships. We burn everything to the ground. And then we try to patch it all up and say, okay, I'm going to go out there and learn from my mistakes. I'm going to do it again. Here's the problem. On the second divorce, the statistics say that your chances of that marriage ending in a complete system failure in a divorce now is over 70%. Why? Because we don't learn from our mistakes. At least we don't learn from our mistakes how to avoid making the same mistakes again in the future. Well, third time's charm. Been there, done that. And here's the only problem. On your third go round, your third marriage, your chances of divorce are now over 75% and approaching 80%. Why? Because every time you go through a divorce, every time you go through a heartbreak, every time you go through a complete relationship meltdown, the system, our operating system for love and life gets damaged and gets weaker. It's not stronger because of the previous crashes. It's weaker because of the previous crashes. And this is why I say the only solution, if you want to truly find the love of your life and have a lasting love that doesn't end with more heartbreak in the future, the only solution is a completely new operating system and a hardware upgrade for the way that you operate in and around your relationships. Okay? Because see, do we learn from our mistakes? Yeah, we learn from our mistakes. The problem is we don't learn everything we need to know from the mistakes, how to not make the mistakes again. Okay, we don't learn what we need to learn from the mistakes. And while failure can be a great teacher, here's the biggest problem is it takes too many failures to figure out when you can learn a process that will let you avoid all this to begin with. There's an easier way. Because see, when the problem is a faulty operating system, a reboot only sets you up for another crash because you haven't removed the virus or fixed the problem or fixed the broken operating system. So the operating system that most of us as men have is completely inadequate to actually understand a woman, to build a life and a relationship of abundance and of affection and of commitment and connection, especially when it comes to love of an amazing woman. We don't know how to do it, right? You don't, if you knew how to do it, wouldn't you have done it in your first marriage, right? You either chose the wrong person, you got in the wrong for the wrong reasons, or you did the wrong thing in the relationship, but something happened that caused it to fail and caused the system to crash. And then we go at it and we don't learn from our mistakes. Here's the second problem. The real problem is we treat our marriages like a hobby, which means we just dive into it. It's like, I want to pick up golf. I'm just going to go buy me a set of golf clubs, go take a couple of lessons, go out to the golf course, hit the driving range a little bit, hit the putting green a little bit, and then I'm going to go play some golf. Now, I'm going to lose a lot of balls. I'm going to mess it up a lot, and I'm not going to win much, but I'm sure going to have fun. You see, we treat marriage like a hobby, but marriage, my friend, is not a hobby. And we treat it like a hobby until it starts to implode and threaten everything in our life. And then we go into emergency mode and crisis management. And the problem with that is, one, it's often too late. And two, it even makes things worse because now she's hurt and she's disconnected. And all of a sudden now all you're trying to do is fix it, fix it, fix it. So your efforts only piss her off more because she's like, where were you before? Well, you were treating this marriage like it was a hobby or pastime. So my friend, you can't treat your marriage or relationships in general like a hobby if you are looking for a long-term, healthy, passionate, sex-filled relationship. You got to get to beyond a hobby level commitment. And here's the third problem. And this is really the biggest problem. And that is a failed marriage is way too costly for that to let it happen again. I'm telling you right now, this is one of the biggest frustrations that I have is guys go into the next relationship and they're like, I got it now. I got this figured out. And when it starts falling apart again and guys go into their second divorce, just like when they went into their first divorce, they went into the first marriage thinking everything was going to work, thinking you thought you knew how to do it, right? I thought I knew how to do this. I'm a great guy. I love God. I love her. I want to do what's right. I want to be a great man. I want to be a great father. I want to be a great husband. I thought I knew all that. And then I didn't. And people talk about counseling is expensive, or even like what I do is coaching and getting coached on how to win in life and in relationships, how to heal from a divorce and make sure it never happens to you again as you go out and find new love. And they're going like, man, your coaching's expensive. I'm going to go like, no, let me tell you what's expensive. Getting a divorce, that, my friend, is expensive. A failed marriage is too expensive to let it happen. So let's just think about for a second, because have you actually quantified how much a failed marriage costs you? Because it's not just the divorce cost. Okay, financially, it can be devastating, right? But financially, first off, you got just the cost of the divorce itself. You got court fees and legal fees, your attorney fees and all that. And that can easily be from $10,000 to $20,000, $50,000, and sometimes upward of $100,000 in legal fees. I mean, it can get ridiculous. But I'm just like, it's not unusual to see $10,000 to $100,000 just in legal fees. Plus, you're giving up half your assets and half your cash, which could easily be $100,000. If you got a house that's got equity in it, you got a house that you bought 5 years ago, and now it's got $500,000 or $600,000 in equity. Now you're giving up another $300,000. It cost you $50,000 in legal fees, $300,000 in your equity in your home, and other assets you got. Half of your 401k is gone, and now you're paying child support and or alimony. And if it's just $1,500 a month, and let's say it's $1,500 a month, you got your youngest child is a freshman in high school, you got 4 years of child support left, $1,500 a month. And that's not that unusual. That's not that expensive. That's not that much. In 4 years, that is $72,000 gone. If it's alimony, it is gone out of your life, doesn't benefit you, doesn't benefit anything that matters to you. It's just money that is gone. And that's just the financial cost. What about the emotional cost? Even before the divorce, do you understand the cost you paid, the price you paid? And this is one of the frustrating things that I look at is you spent 2 years knowing your marriage is over. I talk to guys all the time that they're like, yeah, it's been a shit show for the last 6 years, the last 7 years, the last 10 years. You stayed in a dying or dead marriage where there was no affection, almost no sex, no connection, no respect, no communication for years of your life that you wasted, years of misery and tension and silent treatment and going to bed at night, facing the wall, away from each other, anger, guilt, shame, grief, depression, all the hurt. And it was just building up, and you lived with that. You lived with that shit. What about time? The time that you lost of your life years of time wasted in a dead relationship that was gone. And you may have been trying to save it, or you may have just been trying not to go through the divorce. Just like, I just don't want to get a divorce. Waiting for the kids to get out of the house or something to happen, some magical thing to happen. It's like, maybe it's going to get better over time. And you knew it wasn't going to get better because nothing was changing. And so all this years of time wasted in a dead relationship, time lost for yourself in happiness, time lost with your kids, time lost with your family, that having to deal with all the time dealt, and that even now is going on if you're having shared custody and having to go pick kids up, drop them off, the time spent in the court battles and the entire divorce process, you'll lose months and many times years. And what about the cost in relationships, the tension, the conflict, the loss of family, the loss of friendships, damage to your children? Guys, it is too costly to let your next relationship fail. Okay, because there's so much of the damage. And this is part of the problem, is that a lot of that and all that damage from that last relationship and the time lost, you carry a lot of that into your next relationship. You carry distrust, you carry insecurity, you carry fear, you carry still some of the grief or the guilt or the shame, maybe still some attachment to your ex, which you got to let go of. Now, again, like I mentioned early on, you can say, well, forget this. I'm just never going to get married again. I mean, it is too expensive and I'm just never going to get married again. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. That is an option. And if you're totally happy being alone and don't need a woman, God bless you, brother. That's awesome. But if you're like, some guys are like, I'm just gonna, find the one and we're not gonna actually get legally married, brother. In most states, when you live together, you are connected, whether it's legally or not. You are emotionally and legally. You become common law marriage. You are the same as married. And if you go through another breakup, she can claim half your assets. I've seen situations where they didn't get married and she had kids, brought them into the house, and they were together for like 4 years, and then they decided to break up. And they said, well, we're not married. It's going to be okay. She goes like, no, I want help. And she was able to get child support against her husband for her kids that were not even his kids. And they were never legally married. So you just got to be very, very aware of what you do. And here's the other piece of it is most guys, that's not what most men want. Most men don't want to spend the rest of their life alone. You go, well, I'm just going to spend the rest of my life alone. I'm just going to jack off to porn or date. And what's going to end up happening is you become a 70, 75-year-old fat fuck sitting on your couch, jacking off 1,000 times to porn and dying alone. And that's not what most men want. So here's the good news. Here's the possibility. Here's the opportunity that you have in front of you is your divorce gives you an opportunity to do a complete reset on your life and completely build a new foundation for new life, new love, and new happiness. The possibility, here's the possibility of building a life in a relationship with your soulmate, a life of abundance, of connection, of affection, of respect, of trust, of joy, of intimacy. And my friend, this is possible for you, but you have to learn how to pull it off, okay? You got to learn how to pull this off. It's not going to be automatic. No matter how bad you want it, no matter how nice of a guy you are, you got to learn how to do it. And it's too expensive to try to figure it out by trial and error. So I want to just share with you some principles and some steps to help get it right this time so that your next love is your last love, because you do not want to return to the Heartbreak Hotel, right? I guarantee you I've done it. And every time I was like, that ain't ever going to happen to me again. And it happened to me again. And it was like, I've got to figure out some shit about me. I've got to figure out some stuff about relationships. So here's the principles, and I want you to understand. Is you got to get really, really serious about understanding women and relationships. This is a deep subject, yes. Number one principle is learning how to succeed in a marriage is as intensive as learning how to succeed in business or in sports. And I'm talking about like a professional level. If I'm talking about Tom Brady, Michael Jordan level. If you want to succeed at a professional level, it is a commitment, brother. If you want to succeed in a marriage, it's as intensive as learning how to succeed in a business. Because I'm going to tell you what, I don't care how much you love her, love is not enough. Okay, now if you're not just dating and you're not like dating, trial and error is fine. Because you go out on a few dates, it doesn't work out, oh well, no loss, and a little sadness, maybe a little heartbreak, but with marriage, my friend, is for keeps. When you find the one, when you find the queen and you're like, she's the one that I want to spend the rest of my life with, you can't, trial and error ain't going to work. Okay. Effort, love is not enough. Effort's not enough. Romance is not enough. Being a good guy isn't enough. Being good in bed isn't enough. Because until you truly learn how to create lasting connection and affection and respect and communication, Brother, I don't care how good you are in bed. That bedroom door is often going to be closed for business because you ain't going to get there. Learning how to succeed in marriage requires you becoming a master of relationships. You becoming a master of yourself and a master of that relationship. And every woman is different. And learn how to speak her language and connect with her and hold space for her emotional roller coasters and all of that. That is a game. This is why I do what I do. This is why I created this 10-week program, Divorce to Victory, is to help guys get their shit together and start really understanding this. Because the second principle is this: before you can get marriage right, or before you can get love right, before you can get a relationship right, you have to get you right. You got to take care of you. As a man, you have to heal. You have to become whole. Okay. Now, what that means is emotionally, you got to be whole. But it means also that you have to be stable financially as a man who can provide for his queen. It means you have to be strong. Physically, you need to be in great shape, physical attraction, and you need to be a man who can protect. And women look and are attracted at men who are physically fit, who are physically strong. Why? Because intuitively, biologically, their brain says, he can protect me, and they're attracted to that. You got to be skilled. Brother, you got to become skilled in all, and I'm going to give you some resources here on this podcast here in a minute, but you have to become skilled in all aspects of a relationship. Okay. It is not enough to be a good guy or a nice guy. That ain't enough. You got to become skilled at attraction. How do you flirt? How do you date? How do you banter? How do you get a woman to want you? What about communication? Learning how to listen, learning how to express yourself, express good things, bad things, agreement, disagreement, how to negotiate, how to work through conflict, all conflict resolution, figuring out differences, disagreements, how to forgive, how to trust. All that has to be in play. You got to figure out compatibility issues. Like, how do we get on the same page when it comes to our values and expectations and rules and boundaries and your love language, and understanding her love language and helping her understand your love language and communicating in a way that allows for that true connection without there becoming this wall of fog in between you because you're not connected. Learning the skills of how to create and maintain affection, connection, communication, and intimacy. And let's just put it this way. Yes, sex and being great at sex is a skill. Okay. You weren't born with that skill, and you didn't learn it from porn. Okay. You ain't going to learn what you need to learn about how to truly please a woman and how to attract a woman, how to make a woman want you. You're not going to learn that from watching Pornhub. You're just not going to do it, but you got to figure that out. You have to learn how to be a master when it comes to intimacy, because a woman is very wired, very, very different than us. Okay. I heard one guy say, he said, men are like microwave ovens and women are like crock pots. Man, push a button, he's ready to go immediately. A woman, she takes a while, and it's a different kind of game. It's a different kind of process to get her into that place of connection and where intimacy is true intimacy and great sex is possible. You got to learn that skill. You got to learn the skill of how to deal with your finances and how to work finances together. All that's got to be decision-making, those kind of skills. What are the roles and responsibilities? What is your role? What is her role? And you're like, well, we love each other. It'll all work out. No, it won't, my friend. You have to have the skill to figure all this stuff out and lay it out and create a context, create a life in which she feels not only safe and secure, but she feels wanted, she feels valued, she feels heard, she feels seen, and she feels in a way that makes her want to be open and close and connected with you. And this is a path. This is not a reboot. This is a complete system upgrade. So here's a couple of things that I'm going to just tell you got to do. Number one is you have to commit to becoming a high value man, a true leader in all areas of your life. You got to be able to provide. You got to be able to protect. You got to be able to lead. You need to be able to play with her to make her feel happy and great and adventurous. And it's not your job to make her happy, but it is your job to make her life full of joy and to create an environment in which she can have joy. So you got to commit to becoming that kind of man. And then number two, you got to commit to becoming a master of relationships. If you are stuck right now in this place of getting out of the divorce and you're on the road to recovery, whether you're still in the divorce or you're past the divorce, but you look at it and realize, man, I don't understand women. This is a shit show, and I know I got to get my shit together. You may have figured out a whole lot in your life, and you're a high performer, high achiever, and you've done some amazing shit, but you haven't cracked the code of how to put it all together and how to create this lasting love. I'm going to put a link here and just invite you to schedule a one-on-one call with me. just a divorce to victory breakthrough session where we're going to look at your specific situation and look at where you are, what's not working, where you're stuck, where you want to get to, and what are the best steps and things to get you into a better place. Now, in the meantime, I'm also going to give you just a couple of resources that I think are super, super powerful. Here they are. I'm going to give you 3 books. Okay, 3 books. First book is for almost every man that I've ever met that was raised in a church or Christian upbringing. This book is critical. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy. No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert A. Glover. Game changer book. Number 2, Keys to the Kingdom by Allison Armstrong. Now, this book was actually written for women, but it will do incredible things to help you just understand your own, how you operate as a man and where you are in your life's journey. Beautiful, beautiful book, beautifully written. You can also get these books on audiobook. And then this one, just prepare. This one is called Open Her by Karen Brody. Open Her. Now, unlike, even though I know what the cover looks like, this is not a book on sex. Okay? This is not what I'm talking about right now. This is not a book on sex. This is a book on being a man and what kind of a man you need to be that will allow her to open up emotionally, spiritually, at a soul level, to open up to you into a true relationship. And it just talks about the masculine archetypes of men. This book also will be a game changer. Now, these are not going to fix everything for you. But here's what I'm telling you. The most important thing that you must do is you have to make a commitment. I'm not just going to go out there and try it again. I'm just going to jump back into the ring and go find the woman. My brother, you have to learn some shit. You have to grow and you have to become a man who can find and win, attract and win, and most importantly, keep the woman of your dreams. And to do that, it's going to take more than just a reboot. You're going to need a complete system upgrade. So if you'd like to set up a one-on-one call with me, please, you'll click on a link on the description. I'll put a link here that you can click on, or you can just go to divorcetovictory.com, divorcetovictory.com. I've got some free training there that will help give you some more details on how to do this process. And then you can also schedule a one-on-one call with me there that will absolutely open the door in ways that can change your life forever. So thanks for watching. If you got any comments, please post them, and we'll see you on the trail.